Good morning, everyone. I thought we'd continue with our Isaiah Bible study. And what I did was I continued along with the study. Here's what I showed you last week. And we stopped at the question, why did Manasseh kill Isaiah? And I went on and I studied. And these are the pages in my actual study, all the way through. This is what I got done so far. And I thought we would talk about it. And since we stopped here, I wrote some notes in my actual daily Bible journal. I don't know what we call it. My stuff I do in my journal daily. Anyway, and I figured I would do an overview because that's a lot of writing. I don't think you want me to read it to you. And it actually says, Isaiah's Bible study. Why did Joseph's son Manasseh have Isaiah killed? And then I found out because Isaiah resisted Manasseh's idolatrous, I didn't cross my T. Idolatrous decrees and was seized. He, being Isaiah, stood strong for God and was an example of what we should be doing, standing strong for God. I have a video on standing strong from God. So that's something I have done before, and hopefully you'll go back and you'll view with that and it'll help. Isaiah was called the Messianic prophet, which we went over last time. So if you're going onto this and this is the first video you're seeing on Isaiah, pause it, go back and see the first one. It'll give you some notes on it, and then come back. Isaiah was the son of Amos, which isn't the Amos that's the prophet. It's another Amos. And he was part of a royal family. This would make Isaiah the first cousin to King Uzziah and grandson to King Josiah, thus of royal blood. And he was raised in the palace, or knew the palace. I'm not quite sure. They don't specify which. All right. So then I went on to summarizing it more. I learned Isaiah was a prayer warrior. The grand achievement of Isaiah's life, according to the Bible handbook, was the deliverance of Jerusalem from the Assyrians. His prayer and his guidance to King Hezekiah by the direction of the marvelous intervention of God. And that's found in Isaiah chapter 36 to 35. This is still all information I'm getting from that handbook. And then I wrote, remember, pink is my personal notes. When being attacked, pray. Let me put the book out like this so you can see. I made a picture of where they may have found the Dead Sea Scrolls according to what the handbook told us from when it happened. And it talked about Jericho, and the shepherds were going to Bethlehem, towards Bethlehem. So it was 7 miles south of that and 1 mile south towards this way from the Dead Sea. So I made a picture. I painted it out because I thought that's something I'd want to reference. Isaiah was sawn asunder. And it also says to see Hebrews 11:37, which I did. And it's here. And they stoned, and they were, sorry about that. They were stoned, they were sawed asunder, they were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented. And I'm thinking, these prophets, they went through a lot. They had to face a lot. And today, we don't have any of these things. We're not being stoned. We're not being sawed in half. We do have temptations, but not like that. We're not being slain with swords. And we don't have to wander around in sheepskin or goatskin unless we want to. And we're not destitute, we're not afflicted, and we're not tormented. Why aren't we doing what we're supposed to be doing? That's a big question in my mind. And it makes me wonder. So I put goal. Find ways to share my love of God and to stand strong for Him. These men of God had to go through horrible things in their lives. We are so blessed. We need to make it a priority to be thankful for all the wonderful blessings God has given us. A prophet in today, compared to back then, it'd be night and day. Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Show others instead of grumbling. That's what I put on there. That's my goal. Stop grumbling about this or that and just do what I need to do. When I read about that, I thought, oh my, we have it so good. They had it bad. So that was the end of that book. So then I read through the Scofield Notes. Now in my Bible, they have what is a Scofield Bible, King James Bible, and they have these notes in here. They also have notes of the Bible and references on the side. And when I study, I read everything I can to make sure that I get what I need. I mainly focus on the reference verses on the side because it brings me to another part of the Bible that references this, what I'm reading about. So the last page, because I want to keep these short so you guys can go do your studies as well, that I had was here, the Scofield Notes. And Isaiah's theme, according to Scofield, is Isaiah's Messiah. And it says, Isaiah's salvation of the Lord carried his ministry in Judah during the reign of 4 kings, possibly 740 to 680 BC, a period about 60 years during which Samaria was captured and Isaiah carried away. 722 through 721 BC. And Judah was invaded by, now I'm not quite sure how to say that name, Sennacherib. I looked it up, Sennacherib, and I wrote on there. Oh, and I also made a picture of the Dead Sea Scrolls according to what it looked like in the thing. Did you know they covered them in linen and then covered the linen with black wax? I thought that was pretty neat, just to preserve the scrolls. That's why they lasted. I was kind of curious why black wax, though. Anyway, this Sennacherib, I think that's how you say it, is a pagan moon god. sin was increased, the brothers BDB and ISBE. Sin replaced the lost brothers, IBD. Now, when I found that, I was like, what? I have to do some more studying to find out what those mean. But the fact that it's a pagan moon god that people were following to do mean things was very disappointing to me. Why people just follow anything, especially evil things. It doesn't bring any more joy in life. To me, if you're following a pagan god that makes you do all kinds of mean things, or you think you're got to do these things to follow this god, it can't bring joy anywheres. All right, so the 701 BC was that. The theme of Isaiah's utterance reached back to the eternal counsels of God and the creation of the universe. And it talks about that in Isaiah 42:5. And look forward to the time when God will create new heaven and new earth, which is in 65:17 and 66:22. And I thought to myself when I was reading that, Isaiah, if this is right, tells us pretty much the whole Bible. I thought, that's amazing, and that's another good reason to fully study his word, because I didn't pick that up, that it was such a span like that before when I was reading. So I'm curious to study further and see if I see the same thing. No other prophet has written such majestic eloquence about the glory of God. See chapter 40. So that makes me curious. I want to read that as well, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. All nations of the earth come within the scope of Isaiah's predictions. He's got one in 2:4, 5:26, 14:6, and 26, 41:15, 17:22, and 66. I think that's supposed to be 47. Let's look to make sure so I don't tell you the wrong thing. Well, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, there it is. No, 17. Oh, chapter 40, verse 15, 17, and 22. That's what it is. Let me see if I wrote that wrong. I may have just wrote that wrong. Yeah, I'll have to fix that. And 66:18. The book sets forth the great messianic predictions in which are foretold Christ's birth, his deity, his ministry, his death, his future millennium reign, etc. That to me was really something I wanted to just dive into and compare it with the New Testament scripture so that I could know, hey, this does go along, and study it out like that. But I'm being good. I'm holding off. Of all the prophets, Isaiah is the most comprehensive in range. No prophet is more fully occupied with the redemptive work of Christ. No other place in the scriptures written under the law is there so clear a view of grace. And that made me really think, this is really good. I want to dig deeper into this and really study. So each week, we'll just do a short little snippet, and then we'll come in and we'll study it. And I'll just give you a brief overview of what I found. Hopefully you'll share what you found, and we can do a study together and just dive into what God's got for us. I thought this was a wonderful study, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys are too. I'm starting to prepare for next time, and I'll do a small brief. I'll study it out in detail, and I'll do a small brief, and I hope you will do, catch up with me if you're not already, and then we'll do this together. I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Well, that's it. And like I said, I'll do a small one each time, because we'll do our big, deeper things on our own, and I'll point out what I found, and hopefully you'll point out what you find. And we all can grow together. Well, God bless you. See you next time. Thanks. Bye.